I was just talking with do you know Dharmatma, not the Prabhupada Dharmatma, but the Dharmatma in Vrindavan, nice Brahmachari? He's kind of the temple commander there. He just got over COVID. Actually, the point is he didn't have to go to he wasn't on a ventilator or any of that stuff because he's relatively young. But he says that he has to sleep 10 hours a day. This is 6 weeks after after it was over. He's still sleeping 10 hours a day, and he's an energetic person, and he's lost his sense of smell. Yeah. I don't know how much. I didn't think to ask him that. I should have. And this is really off the track, but it's kind of fun. And you can check. Sri Giridhari, the elderly gentleman. We don't see him much because of the COVID thing, but he used to. Sri Giridhari, Papa Kuruvati. He had some kind of, like his tonsils removed or something, and they nicked a nerve, and he couldn't taste anything. And his wife is a fantastic cook. And he said everything tasted like straw. And the reason I asked, because I saw him here for lunch, and then I came the next day, I saw him here for lunch. And in those days, he didn't, why was he here for lunch all the time? So, and he told me that the only thing he could taste was prasadam. Prasadam he could taste. That's pretty far out. Oh yeah, no, his wife's a devotee, but I'm just telling you, somehow or other, Mahaprasadam from the temple he could taste. But at home, whatever his wife cooked, I'm sure she offered, he couldn't taste. And Yadubar, you can check with Yadubar. Yadubar, the photographer, filmmaker, Yadubar Prabhu. Yadubar was on a flight, and, he's, somebody sitting next to him, pre-COVID days, and he's reading, opens up his Bhagavad Gita, and the guy says, "That's the book. That's the book." So Yadupar said, what do you mean? Well, the guy said, "I'm severely dyslexic. I can't read. But somehow or other, the books by Bhaktivedanta Swami, I can read. They don't flip." Figure that one out, Prabhus. You can ask Yadupar. And Yadupar. He's not going to make that up. It's so many far out things happening. I'm thinking a whole wave of them. Jayarado Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayarado Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Irivanadari Gopijana Balava Irivanadari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunitira Vanatari Jamunatira Vanatari Jiraro Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Sirivanadari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Bunatari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Geraro Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pari Vijayakajaya Satachish Miss Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON VBT Founder Charya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kodavashya Ki. Namacharya Shrihadas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Go Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Say Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki. Dwarka Dham Ki. Navadi Dham Ki. Jagannathpuri Dham Ki. Jamuna Maya Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakta Devi Ki. Samveda Bhakta Vinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Say Siddhara Kiridiki, Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jagaki, Go Premanande. All glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to divine Larasita, Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Svedamo Bhagate Dhamagyanadi Bisaha Kalau nasadasham mesha paranarko nadotata Narayana namaskritchandaram shaivam narotama Devim sarasatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Bhagavatam, Mrs. Brindis' son, is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the personality of God in Narayan, the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, the author, Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So we are on the 4th canto, chapter 31, text 2. Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sava Bhutatma Medasa Praticham Dishi Velayam Siddho Buchi Bud Yatra Jajali Dikshita Brahmasatrena Sarvabhutatma Medasa Praticham Dishivelayam Siddho Buddhyata Jajalihi Dikshita Brahmasatrena Sarvabhutatma Medasa Praticham Dishivelayam Siddho Buddhyata Jajalihi Dikshita Brahmasatrena Sarvabhutatma Medasa Praticham Dishivelayam Siddho Buddhyata Jajalihi Dikshita Brahmasatrena Sarvabhutatma Medasa Praticham Dishivelayam Siddho Buddhyata Jajalihi Dikshita Brahmasatrena Sarvabhutatma Medasa Praticham Dishivelayam Siddho Buddhyata Jajali Dikshita Brahmasatrena Sarvabhutatma Medasa Praticham Dishivelayam Siddho Buddhyata Dikshita, being determined, Brahmasatrena, by understanding of the Supreme Spirit, Sarva, all, Bhuta, living entities, Atma Medasa, considering like oneself, Praticham, in the Western, Dishi, direction, Velayam, on the seashore, Siddha, perfect, Abhut, became, Yatra, where, Jajalihi, the great sage Jajali. Translation: the Prachetas went to the seashore in the west, where the great liberated sage Jajali was residing. After perfecting the spiritual knowledge by which one becomes equal towards all living entities, the Prachetas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. Also, you say, the Prachetas went to the seashore in the west, where the great liberated sage Jajali was residing. After perfecting the spiritual knowledge by which one becomes equal to all living entities, the Prachetas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's purport. The word Brahmasutra means cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Actually, both the Vedas and severe austerity are known as Brahma. The Vedas tattvam tapo Brahma. Brahma also means the absolute truth. One has to cultivate knowledge of the absolute truth by pursuing study in the Vedas and undergoing severe austerities and penances. The Prachetas properly executed this function and consequently became equal to all other living entities, equal in their treatment. As Bhagavad Gita 1854 confirms, Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sojate na kanchate samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhyate param. One who is thus transcendently situated, that verse, one who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He's equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotion, service to me. Back to the purport. When one actually becomes spiritually advanced, he does not see the differences between one living entity and another. This platform is attained by determination. When perfect knowledge is expanded, one ceases to see the outward covering of the living entity. He sees, rather, the spirit soul within the body. Thus, he does not make distinction between a human being and an animal, a learned Brahman and a Chandala. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Sapakecha Pandita Samadarshanaha. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater outcast. A learned person sees everyone equally on the spiritual basis, and a learned person, a devotee, wants to see everyone developed in Krishna consciousness. The place where the Prachetas were residing was perfect for executing spiritual activities, for it is indicated that the great sage Jajali attained mukti, liberation, there. One desiring perfection or liberation should associate with a person who is already liberated. This is called sadhusanga, associating with a perfect devotee. Om Agena Tamarandasya Gyana Gena Salakaya Jakshu Shunmilitan Gena Tazareshi Gurave Namaha. I should say that Jajali, well, I'll say this first. We can just see how nicely situated we are. Why? We're on the western side, situated close to the seashore. We're living in a temple where so many great devotees have lived, and we have so many nice devotees with us now. So we have all facility for becoming Krishna conscious. We don't need to go to the bushes of Vrindavan. Of course, it's nice to visit Vrindavan, but I need to be in Radhakund, or I need to be on top of the Himalayas, or I need to be... We have a couple guys who go... Prabhupada calls those who live in the forest junglis. So we have a couple junglis that went out to the forest to live, No, we've got the perfect arrangement. By Prabhupada's grace, we've got his program. Prabhupada called it the ISKCON sandwich. And we just... You know what the most difficult thing to do in Kali Yuga is? Well, that's a long list. But in this context, can anyone guess? We've got so many bright ideas. What's such a struggle for the conditioned soul in Kali Yuga? Who said that? Balaram. Yes, just to follow. Here's the program, just follow it. Everybody's got to order off the menu and this way, that way, and Anyone know Prabhupada's famous example, touch your nose? I was sitting in the room. Prabhupada said, touch your nose. Mike, touch your nose. No. All wrong. Prabhupada said, you have to go like this. Why? Just follow. But we make everything so, because the mind and the ego and pride, and we're just super turbocharged with passion. Just go in a straight line is like, Okay, so we're nicely situated. Now, I did a little research on Jajali, just quickly, this great sage, because it's a fantastic book. It's a Puranic encyclopedia. It's like a dictionary, and you can look it up. So I looked up the great sage Jajali. And Jajali was performing penances in the forest, standing up straight as a pillar. And he had matted hair. You know, you either shave your head or matted hair. And because Vaishnavas, we like to be nice and clean, and we're not living in the forest, we shave. So, but he had matted hair. And he's standing completely immovable like a pillar during the daytime. He would stand. And in his matted hair, some birds built a nest. So he didn't want to disturb them, so he kept standing. Ahimsa, Prabhupada says, nonviolence. So we were standing. And then, you know, what is it? First came love, then came marriage, then came Alex with the baby carriage. You know, you get married, and then you get the house, and you get the kids, and before you know it, you're super entangled. So, okay, the birds built the nest. Then what happened? There were the eggs. So then the sage Jajali can't move because he doesn't want the eggs to break, so he's standing there, the eggs. Well, then what do you have to do? You have to wait for the eggs to hatch. So you can imagine, it goes on like that. He's waiting for the little birds. Finally the little birds fly, and he can, take a bath and get back to work. So that's the severe penance with determination. For us, and as I've mentioned, that the Catholic nun who asked us about our what did she call it? The mortifications of the flesh, the severe penances. But what does Lochan Das Thakur say about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement? It is simply Kevalanandakan. It is simply pleasure. By the grace of, suppose instead of the Sunday feast, Lord Nrsingadev's feast, I don't know about the rest of you, but I thought it was a fantastic feast. Lord Nrsinga's feast. So suppose instead we served out bark and leaves. Would we have a big attendance? We certainly couldn't charge. I don't know what we charge on the Sunday feast for box. It's free prasadam, isn't it? So I don't even think you could hand out bark and leaf for free. So, or anyone here want to stand like a pillar with bird nest on their head? You know, we can't even sit for 5 minutes in japa. You know, it's a symptom that your mind is uncontrolled. You walk into the temple, out of the temple. What's happening outside? Stand, sit. You know, just the mind is like a rocket ship. Just to sit and peacefully chant japa, you know. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to make the point, a newspaper reporter asked Prabhupada one time, well, what do you do for recreation? What do the devotees do for recreation? And Prabhupada was a little taken aback. Prabhupada said, our whole movement is recreation. And of course, my father at his retirement dinner said, my father said, I had a paper out at 8 years old, my father said. I've been working ever since. Retired at, I think he was 67, sold the business and retired. He said, but my youngest son was smarter than me. Everyone was shocked. And I'm there by Krishna's grace in a dhoti like that. And everyone was thinking, why? And my father said, my son retired at 17 and a half. People are still trying to figure it out. My father said he joined the Hare Krishna movement. They got a kick out of it, you know. So, but it's a fact. Prabhupada said our movement is cyclical. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is cyclical. Anyone know how it's cyclical? Runs in a circle? Prabhupada says we chant. And after chanting and dancing, you get a little appetite. So you get a little appetite, you have a nice feast. And then after feasting, then you like to hear. So we hear nice Krishna Katha. And after hearing nice Krishna Katha, what do we want to do? We want to dance. So Prabhupada says simply chanting, dancing, feasting, chanting, dancing, feasting. That's our movement. It is simply recreation. I was saying to Chris this morning, you know, because I'm over there at the Diamond in the Rough apartments, and Jeez, the way they wake up in the morning, they're not happy. They don't want to go to work. They don't want to. Why do they say, thank God it's Friday, TGIF? Why do they say that? No, I'm asking. I mean, we know they're not really getting relief, but because the rest of the week just sucks. And what are they got a 3-day weekend. And I tell you, watch the pattern. Because I'm there amongst the junglies. I'm, in the forest animals. I'm living there with them, They're just super enthusiastic on Friday night. Saturday, they're full of gusto. And by Sunday, they're just worn out. They're just collapsed, No more, beer pong or whatever the idiocy they're doing. I mean, the body has limits. You can only run so much juice through it. So, but for the devotees, we wake up every day. Every day is a festival. Every day is a holiday. Every day is, And every day is one step or closer to Krishna. What is it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? With every rising and setting of the sun, a day passes and is lost. And you can't buy it back. And when you get older, one of my favorite lines of poetry, Dylan Thomas, do not go gently into that long good night, but rage, rage, rage against the dimming of the light. He's talking about getting old and looking into that long, dark corridor, and the light's going out. Rage, rage, rage. What? You can rage till hell freezes over. You're not stopping the inevitable. You don't slow it down 1 second. So, but the devotees, we think every day we're a step closer back to Godhead. And Prabhupada gives the example of a layaway plan. We've mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again. Layaway plan, I want to buy a bicycle for my kid for Christmas. I don't have much money. Bike costs $100. I put away $10 a month. At the end of 10 months, they save it. They save the bike for me. And at the end of it, I've got $100. I can buy the bike. It's a layaway plan. I don't know if they do that anymore. Everybody's got credit cards now. But that used to be the system. And Prabhupada said that every day in devotional service, we do our humble, simple service for Krishna. We chant our japa. We do whatever humble service. Go out and glorify Krishna. And that's one more ching-ching. It's another deposit in our layaway account. And Prabhupada says, Krishna's unconquerable. He's undefeatable. And yet Krishna becomes purchased. He's Damodar. He can't be bound up. But by that steady, patient, with determination, as it's described devotional service, you can purchase Krishna. So we're perfectly situated. We're just in the right place, right circumstance. We just have to follow. Now, I did want to say something else about devotional service, but let's see what else we wanted to get into, because I'm looking at the time factor. This business about being determined, and that's a quality in Kali Yuga. It's another symptom of the degradation of the living entity. Nobody has determination. You get married through thick and thin. That's it. You get married, one and done. And you just live with it. I'm not talking about an abusive, I'm not talking about that kind of thing. But, she's not my soulmate, or, he eats corn chips in bed, and, that's it, I'm out of here, Whatever it is, But you think, no, I took a vow. People used to stay together for the kids. Vijay, you remember this mantra? Parents. They stayed together for the kids. Not anymore, man. I got to realize myself. I got to get in touch with my inner child. So the whole, determined, I take a vow. Someone of character, of quality. Sacrifice for the better good of others. So it's a symptom of Kali Yuga that, and people they want everything cheap and instant. And that which you get cheaply, you give up cheaply. So here it's being described that it takes some effort. Krishna is not cheap. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has just wholesale discount, blue light special. Just chant. Take prashadam. Do a little service. So, but it actually, we should not be surprised. Maya's business, if you look at the life of the devotees, you will see. Look at, we were just, Lord Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj, you look at the Pandavas, you look at Kunti, you look at Draupadi, you look at Dhruva Maharaj, if you look at Srila Prabhupada, you look at the lives of the great devotees, they had to struggle. Now for those liberated souls, that struggle is to set an example for us. But if I want to sharpen a knife, what do I need? What's the old-fashioned Boy Scout way of sharpening a knife? You have a honing stone. You have a rock. Whetting stone. Is it whetting stone? Is that what they call it? W-H-E-T-T-I-N-G? You have a whetting stone. You put a little liquid on it, a little bit of oil, and by rubbing on that stone, the blade becomes very sharp. Similarly, to cut through the material, what is it, armed with the sword of knowledge? To cut through material nature, the sword has to be sharp. Ever try to cut eggplant with a dull knife? You're sawing away on the thing, So we need, the consciousness has to be sharp. And when the mind becomes controlled, when there's difficulty and you say no, we're not doing that. Who was I talking to? The other way, we were talking about St. Francis, who Prabhupada certifies was a wonderful man. Prabhupada certified it. And he was a vegetarian, trust me. He was a strict vegetarian. So St. Francis, he used to call his body brother ass, like a donkey. And we say, okay, brother ass, we're getting up now. Okay, brother ass, we're going to work. No, brother ass, you can't sit down now. No, that's, he was really, anyway. So you get the idea that no, my dear body, that's not what we're going to do now. And even more difficult is the same thing to the mind. No mind, no false ego. No, you're not. Somebody didn't, devotee, was a little, what is the word? No, I wasn't going to say abusive. I was going to say gruff. The people got things going on in their life and this and that, We, just as a sidelight, okay, I'm going to jump ahead. But just as a sidelight, we expect people to be tolerant of us. Hey, I'm having a bad day, I'm not feeling very well, I just smacked my foot, or, I got a headache, or, my wife or my husband just gave me a hard time, or, whatever it is. And we expect people to think, oh, he's a nice devotee, and, give him a break, right? We expect people to, give us a break, see our better angel. How can you ask for what we're not willing to give? Bhakti Alex, what's the point I'm trying to make? How can we ask for what we're not willing to give? Yeah, we should look at others and think, well, he's a nice devotee, and maybe he's having a rough day, or maybe, I don't know what's going on in his mind. Let me be tolerant. Let me be forgiving, compassionate. As we treat, that's the golden rule, right? Isn't it? Do unto others, you expect them to do unto you. One of the few sutras they've left from Jesus, and it's a good one. So the simple point I'm trying to make is that this determination, what Rupa Goswami in the Upadasha Amrita gives the secret. Everybody likes an open secret. Where's the open secret? Where's it, what's the secret password? Secret handshake. Well, there is an open secret. They call it a book test, open book test. Do they still do that? Open book test? Huh? Okay. Depends on the class. Okay, so thank you. So, open book test. The answer is there. You have to know where to find it, right? So, Prabhupada says, the secret to devotional service is an open book test. Rupa Goswami, Upadesha Amrita. Can anyone think of the line other than Vijay Prabhu? Let's knock Balaram out of the game too. Anyone else? Utsahan, Nishchayat, Dharayat. 3 things. And they work together. Enthusiasm, determination, and patience. Prabhupada gives the example of enthusiasm. Prabhupada was sitting on his Vyasasan in Detroit, the old Detroit temple. Bhagavan's son, Vaishnava, had grown up hearing about Prabhupada, like Santa Claus, Santa Claus, Santa Claus. Prabhupada had actually come. So his mother woke him up. He was coming to Guru Puja to see Srila Prabhupada for the first time. He's probably about 4 years old, maybe 5. We'll give him 5, but I think he was probably around 4 years old. He came running into the temple room, and we don't have it here. Well, we have it there, I think. There's a little, what they call a door jamb. I forget the name in Sanskrit, but there's a little raised stone, a threshold stone. So when he came running into the temple room, he tripped on that threshold stone. Didn't hurt himself, but it threw him off balance, and he landed on the floor. Now, he had one of those onesies they used to call them, the pajamas. It's all, you zip it up with the feet. So he has the momentum. He's running. He hits the thing, landed on the floor. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Vaishnava. His hands out like this, and he shot all the way across the marble floor, landed right in front of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada looked down. Utsaha, enthusiasm. That eagerness. Let me do it for Krishna. Let me do it not just, devotees say, I have to do the 4 o'clock offering. Oh, I have to do the arti. No, you don't have to do it. I have to go on Sankirtan. No, you don't. You can go home to your mother. You don't have to do anything, I have to. Otherwise, they won't feed me. But the attitude of enthusiasm, let me do it nicely for Krishna. Let me go back home, so that's enthusiasm, because we got to go quickly. Enthusiasm, determination, that one does not give it up. And Prabhupada gives the example of Dhruva Maharaj. When Narada Muni met him, Narada Muni said, you're a young boy, you're a prince's son, don't do this out in the forest. It's too difficult. Go home. And Dhruva Maharaj in sweet words said, if you can't help me, you go home. I'm not leaving. So determination. We don't turn back. And patience, anyone know Prabhupada's example? It's a great example of patience. When a woman gets married, generally speaking, pious lady, when they get married, they want to have a kid. Forget the husband. The kids are much more fun, So they want to have a kid. But can you have a kid immediately? What happens? Takes minimum 9 months. They had that blackout in New York City, that famous blackout. 9 months later, the birth rate, shut the light off on the car. There's only one thing they're going to do, So, but Prabhupada says it takes time. But one has confidence, to endeavor with confidence, another meaning of determination. If the husband is fertile, is potent, if the wife is fertile, there will be a child. Isn't it? Yeah. So Prabhupada says in the same way, if the student is sincere and the spiritual master is bona fide, there will be the conception of Krishna consciousness. But it takes time. So that's intelligence. I'm not getting something cheap. I'm getting the most valuable thing in existence. There's nothing more valuable than Krishna. I'm getting Krishna in one lifetime. I don't have to stand like Judge Ali. I just have to chant, dance, cyclical, chant, dance, feast, and I get Krishna, and I don't have a little determination to push through when somebody doesn't treat me just right, or I got up with a headache, or Okay, so there's that. I wanted to say something about. We'll end with this about, and then I want to read about Ramananda Roy, but this is about because Prabhupada closes the purport by talking about devotional service, about sadhu sangha, that the key to the thing is association. So I wanted to read, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking to Sanatana Goswami. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna, the root, the resting place, and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gets even more into it. It's actually quite far out. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love of Krishna awakens, association of devotees is still most essential. It both lights the flame, association of devotees, And it sustains that flame, association of devotees. I mean, perish the thought, but even we're not able to follow the regular principles, even we're not able to chant japa, if you keep in the association of devotees, sooner or later you will revive. If you give up the association of devotees, that's it. That is the death knell. So, that's from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 2283. And then the next verse. When a person wandering through the universe, that's us, becomes eligible for liberation from material existence. How does that, once roaming, floating in this material world, how does Krishna's mercy manifest? When one's ready, when one's ripe, what happens? When a person, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking, when a person wandering through the universe becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with the devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. Attraction for Krishna is awakened. And this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 51, text 53. When material life of a wandering soul has ceased, he may attain the association of your devotees. And when he associates with them, therein awakens in him devotion unto you. So it is the catalyst, it is the spark. And I wanted to read a little something more. This is from the purport. I have Bhanu Maharaj's translation of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's Bhagavatam. So this is by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami. Our acharyas, Jiva Goswami and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, agree on the following point. Although it's stated here that A, when material life ceases, B, when it attains the association of devotees. Okay, so first, my material life has to cease. I have to lose my taste for material life. And then I get the association of devotees. It's sequential, apparently. Okay, where was I? Although it's stated here that A, when I'm adding the A to make it clear, that A, when material life ceases, B, when it attains the association of devotees, Jiva Goswami, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur say, in fact, it's the association of the devotees that enables one to transcend material existence. It is the association of the devotees that allows us to withdraw from the material, our entanglement and our desires and the whole thing. Without the association of devotees, we don't know there's an alternative. We don't get any higher taste. We don't think, wait a minute, I think this is hitting on it, but look at the devotees. Whatever I've got is, like Dhruva Maharaj, broken pieces of glass against the diamond. I thought I was hitting on it, and look at the devotees. So that association of devotees and the mercy of the Vaishnavas, that's what allows the bondage of material, the ropes of bondage to release us so we can actually engage in devotional service. And I'm going to ask a question at the end of this. It goes on. Jiva Goswami explains the apparent inversion of the sequence. In other words, well, it appears reversed in the Bhagavatam, but now you're telling me this? And they say, why? Jiva Goswami explains this apparent inversion of sequence. A statement in which the logical order of cause and effect is reversed. It should be understood that is done for emphasis by extreme assertion. It is just to really drive the point home. You need to have the association of devotees. And from the association of devotees, the material nature will unwind itself. You'll develop the determination, and you'll develop the taste for devotional service. Srila Jiva Goswami cites the following commentary on this statement. Quote, to express the swift action of a cause, one may assert the result before the cause. In other words, he's affirming that it works very quickly. You can practice yoga, you can study the Vedas, you can perform austerities, you can do so many things, and it will take you a long time. But if you associate with the devotees very quickly, you'll get detached from material nature and develop a taste for devotional service very quickly. Sure and certain. In this connection, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur points out the merciful association of the Lord's devotees makes possible our determination to become Krishna conscious. We were talking about determination, so how do I get determination? You see the devotees, how serious they are, how they're getting up in the morning, how they're, I'm not getting involved in nonsense. You think, geez, if they can do it, I can do it. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur points out, there's only a little bit more of this, points out that it takes a very long time for entanglement and attachment to material life to cease. Nitya Bhada, we are practically eternally conditioned. We've been going around and around, up and down and all around the town, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But association of the devotees allows this to quickly happen, that one becomes released. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, everything Krishna does is initiated by the devotees. In other words, Krishna's mercy, because there's an argument. Do I get the Guru by the mercy of Krishna, or I get Krishna by the mercy of the Guru? Devotees try to parse all these things, but actually they're answering the question here. It is by the mercy of the devotees that the whole process gets launched. It's by the mercy of the association of devotees. This is far up. Everything Krishna does is initiated by the devotees. Krishna wants to please his devotees. Just like in Bhagavata, what is it? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you were delivered because your brother-in-law, Gopinath, was praying for you, and therefore by the mercy of a Vaishnava you became delivered. So it's that prayer of the Vaishnava. Prabhupada says here, therefore, prayers and well wishes by the devotees for the conditioned souls and the new, I'm adding here, new devotees, call down the mercy of Krishna. That's what Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says. It calls down the prayers of the Vaishnavas for the poor conditioned souls, calls down the mercy on that person. Krishna's mercy does not arise all by itself at some point in time. This is Jiva Goswami. Krishna's mercy does not arise all by itself at some point in time. It arises by the mercy of the devotees. Not by your jnana, not by your karma, not by this, not by that, not by your previous past deeds. Actually, it happens by the mercy of devotees. So, and Jiva Goswami closes. The Acharya's mercy, I'm paraphrasing now. The Acharya's mercy instructions are the boat for crossing the ocean of birth and death. This method, the boat of the mercy of the pure devotees, is accepted by Krishna as the way to get his mercy. So Krishna likes this system. Krishna says, yes, this is the way it works. I like this. I like it that by the prayers of my devotee, because he likes to glorify his devotees, and he likes to work through his devotees. So yes, it's by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So, therefore, we need to take the association of devotees and appreciate the devotees, be merciful, be tolerant, try to see the good in others, try to learn from the other devotees. There's the materialists, they're always going to be, Prabhupada says, 3 levels. They're going to be people who are better off than us, more advanced than us. There are people who are going to be on a par with us, and there are people who are going to be in a less fortunate condition than us. It's always going to be like that. Now, for the materialist, how do they see these 3 categories? How do they see someone who's less fortunate than them? How do they relate to that person? They exploit and belittle. Okay? Someone who's equal, how do they? No, they compete. We're talking about the materialist. Sorry about that. Here you only see the world. You're seeing the world with one vision as a Vaishnava. They compete. Push them down, knock them to the left, step on their head, climb to the top of the, king of the mountain. And how do the materialists see someone who's better off than them? Envy, criticize, fault find, Now, same circumstance. Talk about it. Consciousness makes all the difference. Conditions have nothing to do with it. Consciousness is what makes the difference of how happy or sad we are. So the consciousness of a devotee. How does a devotee see someone less fortunate? Give them mercy. Help them. Give them mercy. How to see, well, how, instead of pushing down and exploiting, how do you see someone on the same level? Friends, hey, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. And how do you see someone who's more advanced? Offer service, take instruction, offer respects. So we can live in a world where we're exploitative, competing, and envious. Okay, that's option. Behind door number 1. Behind door number 2, we can be giving mercy, we can be having friendship, and we can be getting, loving relationships, merciful uncles, fathers, grandfathers. What kind of world do we want to live in? And it all starts with the association of devotees. The last thing I'm going to say, we need to take association of devotees. We need to give them our association. That's what I was going to say. We need to take association. But what do we also need to do? We want to find out good association. But what else, especially in the ashram, what is our obligation? To be good association. There's a famous, okay, I'm going to go for it. We'll read about Ramananda Roy some other, we'll do it tomorrow or whatever, we'll figure it out. There's a medieval Christian parable, and it goes like this. There was a monastery, and it just wasn't developing. They were, the monks were kind of fighting with each other, and not many people were coming, and they weren't getting donations, and the thing was just struggling. Now the abbot from another monastery was visiting. Like, the abbot was like, the local spiritual master or guru. So the abbot from another monastery or ashram was visiting. And, they were, he spent the night, this and that, and as he was leaving, the monks and the abbot of the one that was struggling, the monastery that was struggling, asked, "Do you have any advice for us?" He said, "Well, not really, but, one of you is the direct representative of the Messiah. One of you is a pure devotee." So they thought, "Geez, what's that all about, But then they began thinking about it. They said, this guy, I always thought he was kind of a knucklehead, but, I'm studying him. It's like that shoe guy, not that he's a knucklehead. The shoe guy in Krishna Balaram temple? I don't know who that guy is, but he's got a nice speaker. He's always listening to class. He's always, he's attached to hearing class. He's attached to, hearing the arti. He's keeping track. He keeps track of everybody's shoes. I don't know how he does it. It's like mystical, He's always happy. You see him. He's leading bhajan. I don't know. I think he's some Deva. I don't know who that guy is. I don't want to speculate. But the point is, so back to they started looking. Well, this guy, but he's always washing pots or sweeping. So, he's always engaged in service. And this other guy, I'm looking at how nicely he does the, arti or the mass or whatever. He's really into it. How to make it nice. And this other, so they were thinking about this, and they started seeing the good qualities in others. I thought this guy, I thought he was cold and impersonal, but I realized he just doesn't want to talk any prajalpa. He's always chanting verses, slokas from the Bible. Wait a minute, this guy's far out. And then here's the really, the blockbuster. They thought, what if it's me? Geez, I better shape up. What if the weight's on me? I better get with the program. And lo and behold, the whole atmosphere changed in the ashram. And people started thinking, hey, this is a great place. I want to hang out here. And people started visiting. People started offering, hey, I'll do gardening. Hey, the people started doing, and the whole thing took off. So the simple point is, we need to appreciate the devotees and the value of association, and we have to be good association for each other. We have a responsibility. And what's the last thing? We have to go out and give good association, because otherwise, how do they know what to do in life? It's amazing the effect of a devotee. Those that have the radar turned on, those that are, looking, those who know, wait, this is not happening. I am not happy. I'm not hitting on it. And they just walk past the devotee. They see Vijay or one of the Sankirtan devotees out there, and they think, wait a minute. They see Bhakti Glenn, Damodar, whoever's it. They say, that guy looks so happy. He's just standing there. He's chanting. He looks peaceful. They see a light. They actually see the effulgent face. Because the devotee's not riddled with anxiety and fear and envy. You know? Even, I'll tell you, women, they have to deal with people that are hitting on them all the time. And they meet a devotee who, really doesn't care. That just sees, what a relief. I got somebody who's not checking out my body for the first time in my life. Jeez, what's with that guy? So, in so many ways, the association of they see a devotee, they talk to a devotee. A devotee can say 2 or 3 words to somebody, and it completely rocks their boat. The devotee said, this world is full of misery. I said, hey, not for me. I was a golden boy touched by the gods. I thought, what would maybe for you, I'm having a great time. The devotee said, hey, you know what? There's one thing about this world. I said, what? I said, nobody gets out alive. Just blew my whole thing right out of the boat. I was actually thinking along the same lines anyway, but I thought, geez, he's completely correct. He's seen beyond my mask. That, it's all turns to dust, ashes to ashes. Just that one line, one sutra from a devotee. I had a girl here, and not because of me, it's just Shastra. And evidently, she's got low self-esteem. She's a little overweight. People gave her a hard time. She, her last boyfriend dumped her. And I said, wait a minute. I said, don't sell yourself short. Do you know who you are? I said, do you know who you actually are? She said, no. I said, you are Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. You are eternal, full of knowledge, and full of happiness. That's your default mode. That's who you deserve to be. And this is the process for realizing it. You're not fat, you're not small, you're not old, you're not young, you're not stupid, you're not, you're nothing. None of those things. You are Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. That's who you are. So, and she started to cry. She said, no one else has ever said anything like that to me, It had nothing to do with me, it's just Shastra. So we need to take association, we need to be association, and we need to give association. And that is the spark for us, for others, and for the conditioned souls that launches their devotional service. So we can end there. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. And we'll read about Ramananda Roy.